I get into the recommendations that you are here for, let me just really tell you more out myself of what my priorities are in an emergency situation. So last night, in the middle of the night, my phone went off with the National Weather Service announcement, and there was a tornado warning in the area that I lived in. And I live in an apartment, so when it's like get to an inside location away from windows and down as low as possible, I'm like, there's really no room that doesn't have a window in my apartment. And also I don't have a basement. I'm like, I don't live in a regular house that has a basement. So then my dad called me and he was like, are you getting like to a basement? And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? He's like, go downstairs to your parking garage, because our parking garage is underground. He's like, go down there and sit in your car, or like just go down and sit in there. And I was like, well, I'm not leaving the kitties behind. Like, I mean, granted, it was like a warning, but there was no touchdown. Luckily, my area like ended up being like relatively safe, and the warning was over and done with after like 45 minutes, and I could go back up. But I was like, I'm not leaving these kitties. And let me tell you, when I tried to scramble around, find them, and put them in their little carrier, they were not having it. They were not having it. But I was like, you are coming with me one way or another. I will not leave you in an emergency situation. It was like, you are my pride and joy, my life, my everything. You're coming with me. And then even downstairs in the car, I'm just like talking to them. And I'm just like, and I'm thinking, I'm like, if there's a tornado that sweeps through here, I'm like, I will cover myself. I will cover you with myself. Like, you are being protected. Like, I will jump in front of anything for you. So anyways, I grabbed the kitties. I grabbed my emotional support water bottle, my phone, and my Kindle. I grabbed my Kindle. Why? Why did I think last night in the middle of like a tornado warning, and when it was like get downstairs, I'm like, I better grab my Kindle. Kindle, kitties, emotional support water bottle, and phone. I guess that's where my priorities lie in an emergency. So just thought I would share that with all you fellow readers, that I was like, I need to grab my Kindle in case of this. So anyways, that's not why we're here. What's up? I'm McKay, and today we're gonna be talking about Rockstar Romance Recommendations. I love the Rockstar trope. I think I've just always been very like attracted to the music industry, and always very like interested in the behind the scenes and like touring. I've always been fascinated with it. I really like reading Rockstar books. I love reading Rockstar romance. So I have some today. I tried to pick like a mix of the ones that I've read, of being like standalones, reverse harems, series, companion novels, same characters, kind of get a good mix for this video in general just to start with. So without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, so I'm gonna start off first with the two standalones that I have. So technically this first one, it's not a standalone, it is the second book in a series, but they can be read as standalones. You do not have to read the first one whatsoever to understand this book at all. And that is Blame It on the Tequila by Fiona Cole. So this is the second book in the Blame It on the Alcohol series. And this one is just so good. I do really love the first one as well. So this one follows Nova and Parker, and they are step siblings, or they used to be since their parents have divorced. But when they were younger and growing up, they used to write music together, and Parker had a band, and Nova would like write songs with them, and then she started to even perform with them. But then something happens where then she stays behind, and Parker and the band get a deal, and they go out on the road, and kind of like the end is history. Like, they're off touring, singing, making music, and Nova's kind of left behind to do her own thing and figure it out on her own. And so then now in the current day, Parker and Nova get reconnected, and Parker is having a really hard time writing music. Nothing's coming to him anymore, and his record label is like, we need to do something about this. We're hiring a songwriter, and they're coming on tour with you. And guess who that songwriter happens to be? Miss Nova. So they're back on tour again, and it's just fun. This is a really good band dynamic where the band members, there's really no drama in between them. They all get along really well, and they're like a really good friend group. And it's more focused on the drama between Nova and Parker, and them like overcoming the past and the things that happened, and how they're gonna move forward and work together in the future. And also it is cool because all of the band members really like Nova, and like they have that shared history of being friends when they were younger. So it's just a nice dynamic. It's really fun. You get the touring side. There is like some little plot things that are revealed obviously in the past, and like how they came to be separated and kind of working over that drama. There is a scene in here that is like imprinted into my mind in like Spicy Scenes Hall of Fame. It's just so good. If you know, you know with Ash. If you know, you know. But if you haven't read it yet, what are you doing? Read this book. It's just incredible, and I love it. It just has so many good tropes. It has the step sibling trope. It has like the childhood friends to enemies to lovers kind of vibe. It has the rock star element to it. Like, it's just got a lot going on, and it's great. Okay, so next is the other standalone. Now this is a thick boy. This is a thick ass book, and this is Lilac by B.B. Reed. So this one is also a reverse harem. So the first one is obviously just between Nova and Parker, but this one, nope, it's Braxton and the 3 members of Bound. So Braxton is a guitarist who she's looking for her next like gig basically, and Bound's guitarist has recently passed, and it's made up of these 3 male members, and they're looking for this new guitarist, and the record label hires Braxton. And immediately when she walks into the room, they are all like, no, we don't want you, we don't like you, fuck you, leave. And like they don't really even like each other. This has a lot of band drama in it, where like there's a lot of like little resentments and things that have happened in the past that a lot of the members just are not really like on the same page anymore with each other. So Braxton is not only coming into this group that is already kind of fractured, but then also like they're like, we don't like you and we don't want you here. And she's like, too bad, I signed a contract, I need the money and I'm gonna stay here. So they go out on tour. And I mean, obviously you kind of know how it goes. She starts developing an attraction for each and every one of them and eventually has a relationship with all of them. So fun times. Not as many group activities in this one, but there are some still. So, you know, in your reverse harem, if you want your group activities, this does deliver somewhat, just not as much as I would prefer in a reverse harem, if I'm just outing myself here. It is a long book. There is quite a bit of character development in here as well. There's a lot in Braxton's past that she's kind of working through, and like trauma that she's overcoming in a way. And yeah, this one's a fun time. You get a lot of rehearsal time, a lot of time on tour, just kind of like all of the elements that you want in a Rockstar romance, lots of times on stage. Okay, so those are my 2 like standalones. I do have one other standalone to tag on the end of this video, but you'll see why I'm tagging it on at the end here when we get to it. But next up is a series that I just recently read and really loved. So that is the Rock Hard Beautiful series by C.M. Stunnage. I'm so sorry, I think that's how you say her last name. But the first one is Groupie, and so it goes Groupie, Rhodey, Moxie, and they all follow the same characters. So these are just so addictive. So addictive. Once I started, I couldn't stop. So this one follows Lilith, who is just down on her luck. Let me tell you, I don't think I've ever read a book where the girl is just like really going through it at the beginning. So her mom and sister have previously passed, and her father, who is her last like remaining family member, has since remarried and whatever, but he has cancer. So she quits her job, gives away her cat, which I think is the most tragic thing. Because even I was just talking with my family the other day, and I was like, I don't care who you are, like I can't marry someone who's allergic to cats. Like I can't date you if you can't deal with cats, because I will I don't care if you're Bradley Cooper or Adam Driver himself, I won't give up Dorian and Arya for you. I'm just saying. But anyway, so she gives up her cat even. Like she is dedicated to get out to New York. She lives in Arizona and she's dedicated to get out to New York to see her father before he passes away. And right at the beginning of the book, he does end up passing. And so she can't even get out there to say goodbye to him. Oh, and also her boyfriend recently broke up with her. That's the other thing. The boyfriend broke up with her, so she has no place to live. She is literally like just going through it. She has no money, no home, no family, nothing. And she finds these tickets at the bottom of her purse at a gas station, and she's like, oh, I could sell these tickets to this show coming up, and I could get some money, maybe try to get out to New York, whatever. So she goes over to the venue and she sells these 2 tickets, and she's like, sweet, I got like $200, whatever, I can go and put that towards gas. And so as she's walking back to her car in the parking lot, she runs into this guy, and he's like very vague, and he's like, wow, congrats, you found me, you won, and just like drops a backstage passenger seat and walks away, and has like a huge dick. And she's like, what does this mean? She's like, well, I might as well take the pass and see what's up. Is it Beauty and Lies? Why can't I even think of the name now? I think the band is like Beauty and Lies or something. So anyways, so she goes backstage and she meets the 5 members of the band, and then she hits it off with one of them, and he ends up taking her back to the tour bus. And, you know, she spends some time with him. And then another one ends up spending time with her that night. And then another one. And then another one. When I tell you, I'm like, Lilith, queen status, 4 of them, all in one night, back to back, and then she ends up going on tour with them. And the thing about this one is that it is so like outlandish and so fantastical to think about, but it's so not. What keeps it from going overboard is the fact that each and every one of these 6 characters is so broken, has the most tragic backstory, and they really all do have something to bring to the table in terms of like healing within one another. And there is some inners in the band, like, so there is band drama too that then Lilith is trying to like heal as well. It's so good. So she does end up having a relationship with all 5 of the guys, and then there is a little action between a few of the guys, even my 2 favorite guys in particular, which I was like cheering for. I will just say the 3 books, they're very character driven books, so that it is not much your thing if you're looking for a lot of like plot twists and like big dramatic events happening. Like that's not really this book. It is more of them going on tour and like healing and having fun times together and singing. So I just really loved it. I thought this was great, and the 3 books, like I flew through them all. So overall, I love this series, and please pick it up. Like if you haven't, what are you doing? Also, the group activities in here delivered. They delivered, and the individual activities delivered as well. They're spicy and I loved them. Okay, next series recommendation is actually the first ever Rockstar romances that I ever read, and I think they just really set off my love for the genre, and that is the Stage Dive series by Kylie Scott. So this one consists of 4 books, and they are companion novels. So the 4 books consist of Lick, Play, Lead, and Deep. So the first one, Lick, is between the guitarist and this like random girl, and it's a marriage in Vegas. Like they wake up one morning and they're like, oh my god, we got married, what are we gonna do? And that's the first one. And then Play, the second one, is a fake dating trope between the drummer who needs to clean up his image and needs like a good girl to do that, and this girl, just like this regular girl, and I think she's moving in next door, and like that's how they meet maybe, or she's like friends with the girl from the first one, and she needs money, like she's in money trouble, so they start fake dating, and we all know how the fake dating trope goes. And then Lead is between the singer who has some addiction issues and is the brother with the guitarist, and like they have some issues in and of itself, and he is a PR nightmare, so they hire an assistant to kind of keep him on track and to live with him. And then I think you know where that one goes from there. This is great though, great banter, great enemies to lovers, really solid storyline, really solid romance. This is one of my favorites out of the series. I would say this one and the last one, Deep, are my favorites. So this last one follows the basis, and it is a best friend's little sister and surprise pregnancy romance. I'm not ruining anything by the pregnancy, that's like literally on the back of the description, like you know that going in. So the girl from the second book, this is her younger sister, and between the bassist, and the drummer had really put her like off limits for him, so it is kind of like a little forbidden. The surprise pregnancy trope in this book in particular really just worked for me. It either works or it doesn't, and it just clicked for me, and I really got their relationship and really felt like they would be together without this baby. So I really liked that in this one. I truly love this band. Again, there's like the band drama, there's the touring drama, there's the spice. They do spend a lot of time like at home and recording and playing shows, so that's kind of cool too. Like it's not always on the road like some of the other ones. It is more of like the downtime and what it's like to be, you know, in the public eye, which is different and kind of cool. So okay, last series on my list is the Sinners on Tour series by Olivia Cunning. It consists of 5 books, then like a wedding collection of 4 of the couples, like their wedding stories, and then I believe Olivia Cunning is writing now a sequel following some of the children of it, but I don't think a release date has been like set yet, or if that's even like a for sure thing. So this one, this is also a companion series. So the first one starts out with Backstage Pass. So this follows the guitarist, and one night at like a hotel, he meets this college professor, psychologist lady, and they have a great night together, and he's like, I can start hearing music again. And he's their lead songwriter, and he's been in a writing rut. He's like, I can hear music again, like stick around, come to our show tonight. And they start spending more and more time together, and she's looking for a new research project. So then she ends up joining them on tour, and she's starting to research the psychology behind groupies. So that's like a kind of interesting premise. Like she's a smart heroine, and she's not just along for the ride, like she is actually doing research on the road, which was really cool. And then her and Brian, like when I tell you the spice in these books hit different. Like these were amazing spice scenes. Olivia Cunning knows how to write a sex scene, and it was so well showcased in Backstage Pass in particular. And then Rock Hard is the second one. It's a second chance romance between one of the band members and his ex-girlfriend. Like they had dated at one point, they broke up, and then now they've met up again, and they're trying to figure out like if they can figure out their relationship again, because they both like want to make it work. It's just they have a lot to work through. And then the third book that I've read is Hot Ticket, and that one follows the bassist, and it is a BDSM romance. So then he goes to this one club one night, and he meets this dominatrix, and immediately he's like, I need her in my life, and they start up a little arrangement and relationship as well. And this one has some like dramatic events and dramatic plot points. Like someone always seems to be in peril at different moments in these books. So I will say, if you are more of like a plot driven reader, this definitely has some more of those like OMG kind of moments. I do want to eventually get around to finishing the series. I've just kind of burned out on it when I was reading it last year. And then the last book, so the last one, this is why I tagged this one on at the end, because it's not necessarily a Rockstar romance. However, our main character is in a band and there is some like songwriting show like elements to it. I did want to include it still, and that is Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. So this one is a new adult high school enemies to lovers, pen pals, childhood friends to enemies to lovers kind of deal. So this one follows Misha and Ryan, and they were pen pals when they were younger. They agree, they're like, we're never gonna know each other's identities, we're gonna keep that a secret and kind of just keep this thing what it is. But then one year they stop writing, and then a couple years down the line, Misha starts attending Ryan's school, and Misha finds out who Ryan is, but Ryan has no clue who Misha is, and they hate each other. Like this is enemies to lovers to the max. Like they really don't like each other. So the reason I want to include this one though is because Misha is in a band, and you do see certain glimpses of that, and especially at the end in the epilogue, like there is some different things about him, like being a songwriter and being in a band and being on tour, and there's like lyrics in here, and Punk 57 is like a whole song and everything. So I did want to include this, that while it's not like so Rockstar focused, it does still have those elements in it. So if you're looking for something that you're like, I like the Rockstar trope, but it's not my favorite, but I don't mind like elements of it, that this one definitely does have that in there for you. Okay, so that's all the Rockstar romances that I have today. As I said, this is one of my favorite tropes, so I've read quite a bit in it, but if you have any favorites, leave them down below for me. I'd be interested to see what you guys all love, and to see if I can get any more recs, or if I've read certain ones, like, and we can just chat about them. Please let me know. I'll have my monthly wrap up coming out next week, so that'll be the next video, and then after that, I promise it'll be the Colleen Hoover vlog. If you're still at this point, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I think we made it through this whole video without any kitty cameos. Although, here, I'll see. You can see Dorian sleeping right here with me. Oh, because he's such a tired. He's tired because we had an eventful night last night. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you when I see ya.